Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where we are currently making tremendous strides at this point. Goods have been stolen from a granary. Okay, so I don't exactly know which granary is the thing, and there's not really what are the information overlays here? Is there an information overlay for security? Crime and vice. Okay, this is very helpful. Good. So we see that there's a lot of crime out over this direction. We don't have a lot of space to build, but we could actually build here. So that seems okay. We can't build and look at that at the same time, which is mildly awkward, but we can definitely put a sentry post in right there. Okay, so that will reach, this doesn't actually show us while that information overlay is active, what all it'll reach. Okay, so that's fine. We can then put an additional sentry post up over about here. And that should cover this whole area. Right? Approximately, anyway. So that'll help matters. And then if we look further, we can see there's more crime issues out over here. So we can put another sentry post down this direction. There we go. What else do we have? This is very busy, so that's a little overworked. That's noted. We can put in an additional one to help out with that somewhere around, I'm thinking, here. Okay, so that looks good. And then up over this way, these guys are struggling a little bit too. So one more sentry post right about there. That should help with the crime situation. I'm not seeing any further significant crime issues at this point. Okay, so we can see the fertility out over here, which looks absolutely fine. I'm not sure what this harvest map mode is showing. Oh, it's showing what's ready for harvest. Okay, and then here we can see the irrigation, which is neat. Goods used. Oh, okay. I see. So we can see that out over here, we need 2 different goods, total stock 0 out of 15 units. Okay? I'm not entirely sure what that's trying to tell us, to be honest, but it probably just means we need a market over here. Our closest market is this one, so that is likely what needs to happen. So let's go ahead and put in a small market about here, and we'll have to extend this road out in order to do that. So that looks fine for now, and then if we take a look at other locations that are having similar issues, right out over here. Again, I believe the diagnosis here is simply we need a market in this area. So I'll put one in right about there. Cool. So now we can look at nutrition, and nutrition up here is fine, which we expect. That's absolutely normal. And down over here, nutrition should be fine across the board. This noble compound has access to 0 food types. I'm wondering if that's because of the ability to reach this market. It's because of where this market is located in its connection. Okay. We could maybe put a small market somewhere down this way. Can't quite fit it in over here. It's just slightly too big. That's a little bit sad. So does that mean, yeah, this market is reachable because its access point is here. Okay, so I'm not a fan of that. The fact that they have to reach the access point up here, but that access point can be anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this road tile. Yes, it's going to be awkward. So we're going to remove that road tile eventually. There we go. It's now removed. And now you can see that our access point is here. So now we can't actually reach this, and we're going to need to remove all 3 of these road tiles. I'm just trying to adjust where the access point of this market is. There we go. Now the access point is here, and we can't quite reach that, so we need to remove that section of road as well. Now the access point is here, so we need to remove that because we need the access point to be here. So once that's removed, we should be good. Bandits were beaten. Okay, cool. One of these days they'll remove it. There we go. So now the access point of the market is here. And now without having moved it at all, this noble compound has access to food. So I'm not a huge fan of that. If we rebuild these, does it change it back? It does. That's not great. I'm not going to lie. That's not great. So what I'm going to do to actually fix this, like, long term is I'm going to put a road up over here. There's a stone road up this way, and we're just going to put another large market up here. This isn't a great solution, to be sure. And we can put in a residential wall up over here as well. So that's going to be a residential wall going in like that. And then as far as this goes, we can have a residential wall like over here. Sure, that'll be fine for now. So that'll take a little while to get that done, but that will fix the problem. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the access point system here. I think that if anything has... If it's a valid access point and they can reach that, then they should be able to access the building. That's my opinion on that. So I think that needs some adjustment. But let's continue going through our overlays here. So nutrition is going to be solved here, in theory. In theory. Because we don't necessarily... I think we might need a granary over here. Now that I think about it. Yeah, so here's what I'm thinking, is we're going to have a stone road coming up over here. And then I'm going to connect it in like that. And then the granary that I was talking about is going to end up going in... Can we fit it here? No, but we can fit it on the other side. So that's going to end up going somewhere like here, which reaches this barracks. Because we need to have maize delivered to the barracks as well. So we need to have maize delivered to the market, which this will reach, and we need it to reach this barracks as well. So if we were to put this somewhere around here, this isn't actually reaching. So I think what we're going to need to do is not build this quite like that. I want to put the granary about here. And then this section of road is going to come out to here, and it's going to have to go out and around like that. So now we'll have a granary that can supply each of these barracks, and we'll have this be set to getting, like so. And then this one will also be set to getting, like that. Okay, so that will solve the problem in a very ham-fisted sort of way. But it's okay. So that'll be fine for now. And then I want to continue going through some of these overlays. So let's look at water supply. Do we have any water supply issues? Oh, we absolutely do. So down over here, we're going to put in a well dipper. I'm going to do that. This is blocked right here. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to put that about right here. And that will be able to access these. So that looks good. And then up over this direction, this well dipper is very busy, but it's okay for now. We've got these guys here that could definitely use a well dipper. I'm wondering what the reach out over here might look like. So if we were to put a well dipper about here, it reaches these two, but it does not reach this one. And this one really does need a well dipper. So to that end, how do we want to handle it? We could take out these sections of garden. Yep, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take those out, and we're going to put in a well dipper right here as soon as we can. We'll get there eventually. Yeah, fire in the city. That's fine. Please remove this section of garden. There we go. So the well dipper will go in here, and that'll reach this. Now, up over here, we can have well dippers up here, and that's no problem at all. So we're going to put in a well dipper about here, and a well dipper about here. that should solve the water issue out over this way. And any other water issues? No, it's all good. Okay, so industry, yeah, deposits is understood. We're not too concerned about that. Production and trip times. So this is definitely okay for optimizing some of this stuff. That's fine. This is the ambience overlay. We don't really care too much about that right now. Symmetry, whatever. Mood, sure, that's fine. So this is the danger map, and I don't think we have any danger on this map. Army service, okay. Unit strength, crime, and vice. Right, we've already dealt with this situation, so that should be relatively fine. The major exception is potentially up over here. Yeah, so to that end, we can absolutely consider putting in a sentry post up over this direction. I see a spot where we could put one in right here. That's not really going to reach over here, though. So that's going to not really do too much, all things considered. However, if we were to remove this guy and put in a sentry post right here, that will help matters significantly. Anytime they want to remove it, that'd be great. Okay, so that's going to reach these here. It's not quite going to reach this cottage. Okay. These will be reached down here. That's not a concern. So the main concern right now is simply this cottage right here, I believe. How do we want to get that? Well, we could move one of these cotton beds up over here. Or we could just try to build it here and see if it'll reach. That's an option as well. Let's see what we've got there. Not quite going to reach. What about here? That would reach. Done. Wait a second. It's this one. Not this one. We need this one. Okay, so with that in mind, we could remove another one of these gardens then and go for a sentry post right there. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do. So that will solve the crime issue up over here. Any more crime problems? Not really. So that looks okay. We can look at repairs and we can see, yeah, there's definitely repairs that need to happen here. That shouldn't be a big deal. Crowding? Yeah, there's a lot of crowding. We're not surprised about that. So then we've got religion, and we can see these guys out over here, they could use some additional religion. So I would like to put a shrine to Tlaloc, not a temple, a shrine to Tlaloc, right up over this direction. Strong symmetry right here. Looks good. So that seems fine. And what other religious issues do we have? Well, we've got these guys out over here, and again, I want to do some shrines to Tlaloc. Good symmetry right up through here. Okay, so I'd like to put one here and one here, with the idea being that they're coming down through here, right? And that'll reach a lot of this. This over here is still lacking in some of that, so we can take out these gardens, and we can put in a shrine to Tlaloc. Hopefully that'll be decent symmetry, but even if it isn't, I think we'll still put this in here. And this garden as well. I'm going to remove that one. Strong symmetry. Okay, beautiful. So the reason I wanted to remove this garden is because I'm actually going to put a road right here so that this shrine is connected better. There we go. So now we're going to have much, much better religious reach over here. Out over this direction, religion looks good. And are we going to be reaching this hut? Well, absolutely. We've got this shrine to Tlaloc going in right here. So that looks fine. No issue there. Education. So education, we definitely have a bit of an issue with. Here's what I'm thinking right now. We can just build a road that's kind of like that. And this is going to be a kind of awkward place because it's going to flood. But that's maybe fine as long as we get it repaired. And we can set some education over here. Although this is too close to the map edge. Okay, noted. What other education do we need? Well, we need education down here for sure, and I'm certainly interested in getting some of that in. So we can do that, probably not there, to be honest. Let's put it back over this direction, over here, and I'm going to do one up here as well. So we're going to need to run some road like this. Maybe out over here, like that. Okay, so that will reach a lot of this, but definitely not all of it. The next question is, this is a dirt road here. Okay, I'm going to remove a chunk of the gardens over here. And I'm thinking about also removing like that. So that's going to be quite a bit of garden being removed, but this will allow us to put in some education here. So if we look at our education situation, we definitely need education out here. We need some education out here as well. So, right. We're going to need some stone canals up over this direction. So I'm just going to do something kind of like this to help hold back the flooding out over in this area. Something kind of like that. Okay, so that'll be fine. We are going to need some education in here, though. So let's put some about here. And I'd like to have some up over this way as well. We have a lot of chinampas that we would like to put in up over here, though. So I'm going to get started on getting those put in so that we have all of this area cleared out. Something along the lines of that. Okay, that'll be fine for now. We'll get that underway, and we'll get back to the education over here. So let's check in down over here. We definitely could use some education here. No access to any form of education, really. We have the library up over here, and that apparently doesn't operate smoothly. That's understood. What was the form of noble education? Yeah, it was this guy. Do we have one of those? I think we do, somewhere. That's a library there. That's a house of song. I feel certain that I would have put one in, but I actually don't see one. Maybe we didn't actually do it. Must be at least one tile away from other structures. Okay. It's an awkward size, isn't it? It certainly is. We could change around the road up here. Or we could extend this out here and then do the same thing right here. And that's what I'm going to do. We'll see what the reach on it ends up looking like, but we'll need to remove those sections of wall. And I'm planning to put it right here. So that means that we're going to extend out this stone road as soon as this one gets removed. That one didn't actually get taken out. Hopefully it does soon. There we go. Okay, so we'll extend this out a ways. I'm not sure exactly how far. We know we need one space of clearance, right? So this is going to end up being somewhere around here. It requires symmetry. It's awful symmetry, but I'm still going to do it. Because I'm more interested in the education. And this reaches all the way over here, so that'll be perfect. So now we can take out the road over here. And we're going to definitely... Hang on, causeways. Built across swamps or shallow water. Okay, yeah. So what I want to do is I want to see this go away. Please remove it. There we go. Okay. So now that that's done, we can get ourselves another education site here. Weak symmetry. Understood. Going to pull that back to here. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to take the road all the way around it. So I want to have that road be there. Stone road is going to come around like this. And then the residential walls are going to go around that little outcropping. It is definitely not ideal, but we needed the education, so it looks fine to me. Okay, we'll get going on that. We needed residential walls up here as well. So let's get that done. That'll be something along the lines of that. Okay, so that'll get us education going out here for our nobles. Now then, back up over this direction. We do need these Chinampas to be a little bit more complete. And we should probably have a porter yard out over this way that is going to be having building materials. So that would, of course, be timber, clay, and stone. And then we'd have this be set to getting. There we go. And that'll get finished over here eventually. And we're going to want to probably extend this road out over here like this and put some education here would be the idea. So that would be like here, but we're going to have to wait for Chinampas. So that's fine. So education here is a bit of an issue. I don't know how we can solve that. I don't know that we can. This might just be what it is for right now. This out over here, same story there. These will get at least some amount of education over here, but this guy is going to have a hard time reaching. But the plan was to build an education location right here. And then also a road that comes in like this so that it can also come out over this direction and reach some of this. So that looks good. That will solve some of that anyway. Not all of it, for sure. This out over here, I don't think we're going to be solving this anytime soon. So that's actually fine. I'm not terribly concerned about that. So education at this point should be largely complete, although I do want to get this in here as soon as we can. Is this Chinampad? No, it is not. Okay, we missed a couple of Chinampas here. I guess these are out of range of the canal. Okay. So we'll need to get those underway there, wherever we can. I think those are the only locations that needed to be Chinampad, so we'll get that done. So that seems good. We could put the education up over here instead. It's basically the same. So let's go ahead and do that for right now. And that will get us this area mostly educated. This area is not, but there's not much we can do about these right here, I think. Yeah, so this is about the best we're going to get for right now. I think that will do. So we'll move on from education for the moment, although there are these up here that don't have much for education. I'm wondering if we built right here, would that reach? That's quite a distance. It just reaches. Okay. What about over on this side? It reaches here. We could theoretically run a road up here that connects in like this. So that would be like a stone road here that then connects like that. And then out over here, it would be a stone road there that then goes through kind of like that. I don't think that's quite perfectly symmetrical, but it's close enough. And that'll give us much, much better access here. So we can actually just remove this residential gate here because that residential gate seems to block access to services. So I'm going to remove that. We're not using residential gates because I don't want to block access to services. And instead, we're just going to run a stone road through that spot. There we go. So that looks good. And that should solve those education issues. Now, healthcare. What do we got going on here? So this sauna is strained. This common home is filthy and needs sweeper service. So we could absolutely get a sweeper up over here. That's fine. And we should probably do one up here as well, just to maintain some semblance of symmetry. Okay, what else do we have here? So these up over here, they are reasonable. Yeah, there's no actual healthcare issues there. I think, honestly, all we needed was the sweepers. So diversions, we don't have much diversion up over here. That's not at all surprising. And then there's, of course, civil service, which we're not getting very much of at all. That's fine for now. And then there's service usage. Okay. For now, I think that's good. So we'll let this proceed, but it is about time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we might address like diversion, civil service, and service use. But otherwise, it seems good. Oh, we can actually make them persistent. but it doesn't allow us to compare the overlays of coverage. Noted. Okay. Well, you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Aurelio, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.